Hi, I'm Aaron Schwartz with Macquarie's equity research team, and I cover the security space as part of our broader software coverage. And I'm pleased to have George Kurtz here, who is the CEO and co-founder of CrowdStrike, which is a next-generation security company. Maybe we could start off at a high level, but we have a view that a lot of the security approaches today are just broken. They're just very antiquated. You have a very intelligence-driven approach to security, and was just wondering if you could provide a quick background on your approach to the security market relative to a lot of the existing solutions in the market today.
Sure. Well, I have the benefit of spending about 7 years at McAfee, so I kind of know what solutions are out there, what worked, what didn't work. And unfortunately, a lot of the solutions are reliant on legacy technologies, legacy architecture, as well as legacy signature-based approaches, which in today's threat environment, with how fast the threats move and the adversaries move, it's very difficult to stay ahead of those particular attacks.
And your company is not focused on a signature-based detection approach. You do have a security analytics approach with a big data architecture backbone. What does that provide you in terms of just protection differentiation relative to a signature-based approach?
Well, again, 20 years ago, a signature-based approach worked because there were mass infections, right? In today's environment, it's all about targeted attacks, creating a piece of malware delivered to one company with the purpose of getting in and stealing data, as an example. So with our technology, we can identify what we call indicators of attack. These are just attack patterns that every bad guy has to go through. And the physical world analogy would be if someone was to rob a bank, you'd have to go into the bank, get into the vault, get the money, and get out. And it really doesn't matter what car you're driving or what your license plate was. And a lot of the old incumbent players, the traditional antivirus endpoint companies, are focused on figuring out, is that the bad license plate? If not, they just lose track of it. So by looking at a behavior-based approach, looking at indicators of attack, it's very difficult to hide from that because you're looking for activity as opposed to just focusing solely on malware.
You've pioneered something they call indicators of attack, which is very different than a lot of companies that might focus right on the compromise. Can you maybe just walk through what that means to your technology and also how you understand maybe the adversary once they get into your network rather than focusing on a discrete attack?
Sure. Well, an indicator of compromise, by definition, is you've already been compromised, and it's after the fact. So the real difference is we're real time, the other players are after the fact, and you've already been compromised. So by looking for these attack patterns together in sequence or even out of sequence, we can use our threat graph technology to do that. We can identify the attacks as they happen and then be able to stop them. And that's really what customers are looking for. It's like driving through the windshield or driving, looking in your rear view mirror, right? People want to be predictive, they want to be preventative, and they want to stop as much as they can at the point of attack.
Maybe shifting to a market overview question. Endpoint security has been around for a long time. You have Symantec and McAfee, a lot of companies that have been in this space for a long time and really aren't seeing much growth in the space. And then you have a whole host of emerging companies like yourself, but also companies like a FireEye and a Palo Alto that have acquired their way into the space. How do you view the competitive landscape from maybe just replacing some of the legacy equipment out there and relative to competing against some of these other companies?
Well, I think we have a great opportunity because a lot of the legacy players, it's just innovator's dilemma, right? They just can't move quick enough to try to come up with a new architecture. And unfortunately, they're in the 1990s architecture using signature technology. So I think there's a great opportunity for us to go in and ultimately replace those technologies, which is what we're hearing from our customers. Why do I need an antiquated technology when I have your solution? So that's a great opportunity for us and something that we're focused on. The second area then is the FireEyes and the Palo Altos, and they do have some endpoint technology, but they only cover a small piece of it. They might cover the post-compromise phase, looking for indicators of attack, for example, at FireEye. Palo Alto may cover the exploitation phase. But in the attacks, and we see them every day, there are many more techniques than just what's being covered, right? Using techniques that don't really rely on exploitation will allow somebody to just simply bypass, what Palo Alto has as an example.
If we think about your opportunities, you come to the customer, what is a typical implementation look like? Do you guys start small and then grow through the organization, or what has your track record been like once you get into the enterprise with a win?
A couple of years ago when we first started selling, it was obviously the new guy. Let's try it in a place and see if it works, and then we'll expand from there. I'm happy to say now that because we have some big customers that are really talking to other customers, they're validating that the solution works, and we're more into enterprise buy. So, as long as it passed mustard with their testing and they agree that it does what we say it's going to do, they're just going to roll it out enterprise-wide.
Terrific. Well, I'm Aaron Schwartz with Macquarie, and we have George Kurtz from CrowdStrike, one of the emerging and really impressive companies in the security landscape right now. Thank you very much, George.
Thank you.